Is it starting to stream? I don't know. Holy crap. Oh. Is it starting to stream? Alright, well, for some reason it wouldn't let me stream from my monitor, but it looks like it is live right now, so I'm gonna start this swinging. We missed the entire talk through champion pick and ban, but we have the game live now. That's all I need, and hopefully after the first game it'll get a little bit better. But getting into the game, we have on the blue side Drexel University. In the top lane, looks like it's gonna be Pesos on Gnar. In the jungle, Vita Coco Water on Elise. In the mid lane, we have YOLO Badger playing Azir. Nuketown on Ashe for that 80 carry. DU Devoted Melon, the most devoted of melons, on that Thresh. But actually, they catch RC out in the top side. This Malphite is not going to be rock solid if he gets hooked here. Oh man, he's taking a lot of punishment here. I don't know if they'll have actually enough burst to quite finish him up. So nothing too huge coming out from that. The one important thing to note is that Thresh did start with Hook as a result of that, so if they lose a little bit of trading power at level 1 as a result in their lane, that could have a small influence, but pretty much Drexel University going to be going in here to get several deep wards out. These are pretty much used to spot for lane swaps. Now, because the stream was not live for whatever reason, we didn't really get a chance to talk quite too much about the pick ban, which is very unfortunate because that is so important to the game itself. But if we just take a little rundown on the team compositions, looks like University of Maryland College Park is pretty much banking on white with that Jugger Jinx type composition. Now, they have the Lulu in the mid lane, and we can actually talk about pick order from the, because they are listed in that order on both sides. Looks like double jungle going to be coming out for both junglers, but a sneaky little invade from Drexel University going to mean that they are going to deny several jungle camps from University of Maryland. We'll see when Maryland realizes this and if they try to respond with an invade of their own. Azir not being the most, not being one of the most aggressive mid laners early on in the game, is not really gonna have that much early game jungle pressure to be able to roam. So, if they really want to try to invade, Rek'Sai is a champion that can do it fairly well, but White barely not getting hit by that hook, and Devoted Nation, or sorry, not Devoted Nation, Devoted Melon does get punished as a result, but Lutana taking some harass as well. So both sides trading fairly equally there. We can see that the death sentence actually did not prove to make much of a difference in that level 1. And now that they're both level 2, there's not much difference overall. But actually, Lutana goes out with a pretty early black shield. But that means that Devoted Melon tries to go all in for this. Here comes Vita Coco Water with a timely roam. If he was not there at that moment, that probably would have been the first blood. But Yami taking good use of that knowledge, going to be able to counter jungle him a little bit and completely clears the wolf camp, knowing that Elise would probably clear it pretty soon anyways. But actually, Yami is right here now. He's already at half health, and is he going to be able to duel Vita Coco Water? I don't think so. Is he going to go down for first blood here? Azir's going to be the first one to roam up here too, so that is actually Elise getting that 400 gold power spike early on, and a bit of miscommunication there from College Park's side. I mean, they just saw Elise up in that top lane, so they should have been able to communicate that she was going to roam down there. So Rek'Sai not really respecting Elise's probable pathing there, and he gets punished for it. So we'll see if Vita Coco Water is able to to snowball that advantage any further throughout the rest of this game. But Elise is one of the best champions to get an early lead on, because you can get such strong ganks off if you get some early damage items or penetration, such as with the Haunting Guys, or if you rush that Rune Glaive. And Elise is a champion where you can go either Runeglaive or Cinderhulk, depending on what you really want to do for the team. You do already have a dedicated tank in Gnar and one decently tanky front line with Thresh, sorry. But if they really want to try to focus on Ashe and Azir, they could go for a Cinderhulk Elise. But she does go for that Ranger's Trailblazer immediately with the Amplifying Tome, so I think she wants to start out with a Runeglaive, so they're going to be very aggressive here early on. Now, while Elise did get that gank off, Rek'Sai has been continuing to farm, so he's only down 200 gold, which is 200 gold that he could be down. But she's just going to make sure she can ward up her jungle, and I do like that the fact that both Elise and Azir bought very early pink wards. This will allow them to play pretty safe early on. And in the bottom side, we saw a little, well, the bottom side with the top laners. Not enough, I'm just gonna be chilling out. Oh man, that was a good cocoon, actually, but here comes Yami in the top side, a good Black Shield that time. Gonna be able to get down Devoted Melon, and another binding! Lutano looking for the aggressive blaze. That means that they get a double kill in the top side. Not quite a double kill because the gold is split between two of them. At least gonna try to deny some of these jungle farm, but 2 kills is definitely worth that. Swings gold back into the favor of College Park, and most importantly, that kill went to Jinx. You can see they're able to even shove the minions into the turret, which will further deny Ashe some of those minions. But Arcee actually goes in now, tries to flash, but oh man, a good ultimate from Pesos does force him to burn his ultimate Unstoppable Force, because even though Malphite tried to flash out of the Gnar, he still got hit. And Rek'Sai Morgana gonna try to come down here to save this. The teleport is blown, so that turret's gonna live to see another day, and looks like it's gonna be a 1v2 on the top side, although Drexel University is not quite aware of the fact that Morgana's down here yet. Once she passes over that ward, though, that will give them vision, so Thresh is gonna try to make some plays here. If he stands in these... Okay, he's not gonna do anything sneaky, just wants to be able to get some of this experience, and they're gonna push the lane as slowly as they can. They can't really freeze it yet, but Peso's getting so low! Yami! Oh my goodness! Goes for that Skirmisher Saber really early on with the double longsword. Talking about different jungle paths you can go. Challenging Smite is not something you see very often, but Yami definitely knows what his playstyle is like, and he wants blood from this game. So going for that Skirmisher Saber instantly pays off with another kill. He'll be able to transition that into a Warriors, and with the Warriors they can continue to do this, but Busty dies, does get hit with the Azir Sec. And are they going to be able to actually lock him down? Thresh is going to try to roam from the top side. If he gets caught here, that might be pretty bad. He does have the Wild Growth, if nothing else, but looks like the bottom lane is going to be giving up on him over here, because he's just going to... he just wants to try to save his cooldowns for now, but he already has a flash burned from an earlier fight, so that's just going to be another kill over to that side. Good communication by Drexel University, making sure that their bot lane was the first one to come down, because if Morgana was able to get the Black Shield, that would not have been very fruitful for the Drexel University. And you can see Gnar and Rek'Sai having a little kerfuffle there. Rek'Sai is just going to be going back, though, so he's going to be able to heal that right back up. He is level 6, so he's probably going to be ulting to one of these minion camps. Actually ulting to the Raptors, so probably going to use this for a smite to either invade or clear some wards, or just go for this clear and then maybe try to see if he can get a gank off top lane. And if you think about the composition that Red Side is running for University of Maryland College Park, I mentioned that it was a Jugger Jinx composition, but I just really want to highlight why I want to say that. Just because you have so many shields and buffs for the Jinx with the Morgana and Lulu, that you have pretty much you just buff Jinx with everything, and she can essentially 1v5. Once she gets farmed enough, She does so much damage, has the range and the movement speed to dodge things like the Elise Cocoon, like the Death Sentence, and actually Lutano goes for a really aggressive flash ultimate on Vita Coco Water, but a good repel will help him get out of there, but I think that was a Super Mega Death Rocket, bringing him just barely low enough. Yeah, and are they going to be able to go for this kill on the Devoted Nation? Wow, I have never seen chompers like that. I don't know if that was planned or what, but that forces the flash out of Thresh, and we've seen how aggressive Yami is with this Rek'Sai. She is looking for blood. Oh, it actually comes out! Oh man, Ashes way too far forward, and Nuketown does get the Dark Passage to help out, but Yami gets a little too excited there. Unfortunately, he does go down. Another instant teleport from Yellow Badger. Gonna see if he can make something happen here. I think that Light and Lutano are in the clear, however. Azir just gonna continue to pressure this, and especially with Azir's long range and with the blue buff, it's gonna be so difficult for White to stay here to clear the minions at the turret. So they're actually gonna force a teleport out of Lulu. Unfortunately, Dark Binding doesn't land for Lutano. That's pretty much their only engage in this situation because Malphite is well, actually Malphite is up here. I didn't even notice him coming up. He just snuck over, but here comes everybody on the red side. Actually a pretty decent Emperor's Divide there, considering that Malphite did have the Black Shield, but White gets one kill. A great zap at max range. He wants more money, but Yami gonna be taking that. Queen of the Xerxai coming through and flexing her predatory muscles. Gonna be 3, 2, and 3 now. 6 out of 7 kill participation on the map. And talking about 6 out of 7, so does White on that 80 carry. Is also gonna go down. Not quite. Let me just X out of that Facebook tab so that you guys don't get confused with any secret notification spams. But yeah, University of Maryland's been playing so aggressive, and that's actually really refreshing to see because so often when you're talking about compositions that revolve around protecting the AD carry like a Juggernaut or Jugger Jinx, they play pretty passive because, I mean, you're relying on a hyper carry to win the game for you, right? So basically you don't have to make any plays early because your hyper carry will be able to outscale. Looks like Drexel University is going to be able to take the dragon though, so they trade a little bit in exchange for all those kills. But yeah, anyways, Drexel University just might not have expected this level of aggression coming out from Yami, especially when you're trying to protect Jinx so much. You might expect a more defensive Chilling Smite into Cinderhulk off Rek'Sai, but just being able to snowball this lead means that they can dictate the pace of the game as they choose. And even though Drexel University gets the first dragon, that is still one dragon. And really, with a Jugger Jinx composition, you're not looking for it 5 stacks of dragon to be able to close out a game. Your strength is really in this siege. And that's, you could really see how that's reflected in their pick ban because, I'm sorry, the stream wasn't up, so that is completely my fault. But they did actually ban Viger as their first ban. It was Viger, Gangplank, and somebody else, I believe. But yeah, their first ban was Viger, and Viger is so good against siege compositions. Here comes an arrow. Is it going to hit anybody? Not quite. Well, okay. Not quite. Oh, man! Dark Binding lands onto Devoted Melon, but he's going to get out of there. A-okay. Azir's thinking about coming over. He's like, yeah, I'm changing my mind, guys. I'm just going to chill at my turret, even if my turret falls down. I can use my second turret. Oh, man! Oh! I keep saying, oh, man, because so aggressive are these plays. Malphite not afraid of ultimate one person under the turret. Yami coming through. That's a little bit overexcited there because you don't really have any follow-up from the rest of your team. You already have the Malphite ultimate used up. So, ooh, flash knockup does miss from Yami, but White is already coming through with that Jugger Jinx range and damage, being able to continue to chase, especially once you get the Get Excited passive. It's pretty much impossible for him to escape here, or for the Drexel University to escape here. So, coming through into the next game. That is my phone. I'm sorry, that probably sounded really scary for you, but that might have just been the Queen of the Xerxai, Rek'Sai herself, rumbling through these tunnels. Yeah, someone in stream talking about that bind. I do agree. Lutano making it work this game. Yeah, going forward into the, so I mentioned that Viger. If they're planning around a Joker Jinx composition, you can really see that they have this pick band sorted out fairly well, because if Viger throws down his stun around the just in front of his turret, it's really hard for anybody to be able to get that damage off. But if they're going for these really aggressive plays, putting the black shield on somebody will just allow you to walk through there and Jinx to follow up. And they did still get Azir, which is also a very nice control mage, and they do actually respond to the mid lane turret, so that does actually help them out a bit. They're still down 6,000 gold. Malphite actually splitting in the top side to be able to get some pressure himself, but that's just gonna add a little more insult to insult. Oh, well, Lutano saying, hey, Newtown, I want some of that booty. Goes for that Ashe, and he throws the Ignite off. He's on a killing spree. Right now, Lutano has as many kills as the person with the most kills on Drexel University's side, so very well played, knowing that he can take those fights, even though he rushed that Aegis of the Legion. Pretty confident in his ability to catch out an Ashe from the blind forest. And now Yami making aggressive plays by himself. They're just going balls to the wall in every single lane here, taking the jungle wherever they please, and Drexel University simply doesn't really know how to answer this just all around aggro. I think what they really need to do right now is use their power of the Ashe and Elise to choose somebody in one of these side lanes, Rek'Sai or somebody in the bottom side. Use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and just go all in, because you do still have a lot of single target burst with the Runeglaive Elise. And now Azir has actually finished his Nashor's Tooth, so that is a bit of an item power spike for him as well. So you can't just simply allow them to take everything from you, but they're all kind of splitting up, trying to limit the bleeding, and it's not going the worst. They're not losing any turrets so far, but they are losing a lot of that jungle, a lot of the jungle gold. So just slowly getting a little further behind. And basically this is all University of Maryland College Park wants to do. They're setting up vision around the Baron now. They don't really have a ward very deep in here, but it does make Drexel University so nervous to try to get in here. I do like the fact that they're going in groups of 3, because you really need a buddy system for this game. We have seen RC on that Malphite not afraid to pull the trigger whatsoever, and YOLO Badger. Oh man, this is what I was talking about. Ashe going for that arrow on a single target. They're going to try to burst Yami down, and I think they are going to be able to get the kill here. So that is one advantage in one lane. That does reduce the split pressure across the map here. So Drexel University being able to calm down a little bit to try to make something happen, but the question is, can Azir and Gnar defend against this? You have the Jinx. She has a black shield on her already. Malphite, oh man, he just goes completely forward with Lutano, gets another binding. That Pesto's gonna be going down, double kill. Unfortunately, Azir was not able to wave clear and zone them off in time, and Malphite just goes where he pleases, even though he is not a mad scientist of Zon. White gets another crit. That's half the health from Devoted Melon. He's just gonna be going for the turret, or he should be going for the turret now. Oh man, that's really low. A little bit of a misplay there, but I think they should still be able to get the turret. And actually, Rek'Sai is trying to hunt down Ashe. That's really important, because Ashe is their only primary engage on the blue side, except for a flash engage from Thresh. But when you have RC, who already has a Sunfire, it's very difficult to clean that up. But oh man, Ashe gets completely blown up by the Rek'Sai, and YOLO Badger trying to do something, but when you're just a lowly Sand Emperor, you can get blown away oh so easily by that Fairy Dust. That does mean that they're going to try to get this next dragon. Elise is a little the wiser. I don't know if she really wants to repel in there though, because it might be a certain death, but Azir wrapping around will allow her the confidence to kind of come around and claim that territory as her own. So, gonna calm down with the game a little bit. Baron is up in 20 seconds, and with the lead that College Park has right now, 10,000 gold, that a 20-man Baron is something that could be a real possibility. Now, they do kill it fairly fast with the Jinx, obviously, because she's already at 2.5 items. So, they're actually starting to walk over there now, and I do love this abundance of pink wards in their inventories. We saw Drexel University throw down a lot of pinks early on, but now the only pink ward on the map is in that one bush next to their mid lane inner turret ruins. So Ash gonna be checking that hawk shot, checking that Baron with her hawk shot, but finds nothing but wards. There is Ward City up in here, and that's really how College Park wants to play. They're playing so aggressive early on and somewhat risky, to be honest, but now they're trying to take this in a more calculated manner. And being able to snuff out the vision means that Drexel University wasn't really able to spot them coming all the way to this inner turret, but Pesto's going to see if he can get a good flank here. A hook lands on the white, but a good QSS instantly cleanses that off. What's actually the QSS? I don't know. We'll come back to that later. But Yami tries to go and gets hit by the Emperor's Divide. A nice job peeling from Azir. Does Lutano land that binding? Not quite. They will give up this turn. Lutano, what are you doing, man? He forces the wild growth out, but he's actually going to fall down here, I guess. He's trying to zone them off for the turret. Oh my gosh. That critical strike from Jinx. She is coming online if she wasn't already. So they're going to get that turret and trade 1 for 1. So even though Azir had a beautiful disengage and they're able to cut their losses, College Park still comes ahead. And a lot of that was, I think, due to the fact that Pesos didn't have his Narbar charged up for that already, because you saw the Ash arrow come out onto Malphite, and a lot of College Park was sitting right in front of the inner turret, but because Gnar didn't have his ultimate, they had no real follow-up engage. And of course, you can have Thresh try to get in there, but without Flash, he has no reliable way of doing that. And against a Morgana and a Lulu, landing a death sentence is nigh impossible. Nigh impossible. So that does mean another turret goes down, and College Park grabs the Baron buff. So looking a little bit, not the best shape for Drexel University in this game 1, but that's the great thing about best of 3s. You can use this game to adapt. Maybe you can try to ban out some of the key champions in this team composition, such as the Lulu, or even Morgana or Malphite, because Malphite does give you that super ability to engage when you need to, but obviously you can still get more engage options aside from the Malphite. I just think it is especially nice as the ultimate going all in. But it looks like they're just going to be rotating down to this top side. I think Malphite should... Wait, does he have teleport? Okay, so he doesn't quite have the teleport yet. And White is actually running cleanse, so... Oh, Lutano gets hit with that cocoon, but nice shield from Lulu, going to be stopping any follow-up from that. But yeah, so I did call that QSS, but that's actually White running the cleanse, but actually he doesn't have a cleanse now. A black shield comes out, and Malphite lands a 2-man ultimate onto them. Panso's going to be trying to stun people up, but White is just too tanky with all these shields. That means that he can just brush off all of the damage. A double kill comes out from the Jinx. YOLO Badger's the only one left alive in this game. He is trying to do what he can, saying go in there, soldiers, but unfortunately he cannot one-shot every single champion with every auto attack. That would be a little broken. That is going to be first game going to University of Maryland College Park. 20 kills to 7. Are they going to be... Is Drexel going to be able to come back for the next game? Only one way to find out. Hopefully, when I switch back to the monitor, the stream will not go back offline. Potato Saw calling out that voice crack. You heard it here, baby. The quadra kills coming out. Except there weren't really any quadra kills, so not quite. But Alright, so Richard is actually Oh, okay. Let's look at the damage dealt just to give a little props. Yeah, pretty much exactly what you'd expect from that white, overpowering everybody. Oh, that just reminded me of saying Kappa Ross. There's a... Alright, I'm actually going to move this to the side real quick so I can grab the code for the game yet again, because not really sure if I want to put that on the public stream. That might get a little messy, unless you guys want to join in on the fun. But even if you want to join on the fun, this might not be the best idea. Yeah, let me call Richard so he can co-cast the next game with me. How's it going, Richard?
Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty awesome first game.
Nice, nice. One sec. I'm gonna give you the tournament key, the tournament game key in Skype. Right. All right, so.
That's annoying. Skype cut it.
All right, guys. Okay, so. Oh boy. YOLO Badger saying he's gonna have a little bit of fun in the meantime. Alright, so while we have a 5-minute break, I am joined by the none other than the legendary C9 Highest Balls, Richard Lid himself. What are your thoughts on that last game?
I'm gonna have to say that at the beginning, it seemed like Drexel was actually playing very well and might have actually been able to secure a decent lead, but they just couldn't handle the insane aggression that we seem to be pushing out. Yami was just going after anyone and everyone that he could. Lutano had great roams, amazing bindings, pretty much finding everyone that he needed to. And then when you let a Jinx comp scale, it's just over. To be honest, they really didn't need to play aggressively at all and still have that win condition. But it's nice to see your team flexing their muscles, because pretty sure they knew that they could do all those plays before going into it.
Yeah, I'm also really... Yeah, I think maybe in the next game, if Drexel University can maybe just keep the cool a little bit, make sure they keep vision up, because on their first backs, I know that they bought a few pink wards, but when you're getting invaded by all sides like that constantly, you really need to make sure that your vision doesn't drop at all. And they were running that double teleport. So with that double teleport, if you have proper vision around your jungle, you should be able to respond. You have the tools to be able to respond properly to invades like that. So we'll see if they are able to amend that for the next game.
Yeah, this tends to be a pretty common trend when you see higher level teams playing against lower level teams. Lower level teams tend to thrive on chaos at the beginning and actually have a decent early game, but as the game progresses on, all these leads start disappearing. They don't exactly know what objectives to group for, how to maintain vision control, and they slowly just start losing objective after objective and end up losing the game that way.
Yeah, that being said, I was pretty impressed with College Park's vision control later on in the game, especially when they're setting up Barons. They're able to kind of play the map and the darkness to get position on that inner turret in the top side. And even though they played really with a lot of chaos, like you mentioned in the early game, I think their macro game in the end game was pretty solid. Well, I need to throw some dank memes into the chat real quick.
Boy.
But yeah,
Woo! Oh man, shots fired.
Hey, I subbed to Double Lift back when he was on CLG, but sorry, man. I love Peter, but I actually helped him carry a ARAM sub game to victory. But I'm still CLG fan at heart. Cannot. Wow, you hopped on TSM bandwagon. I don't know what you're talking about, Freddy, but pretty sounds like the opposite. I am rocking that CLG icon, but looks like they are ready for the next game. Spoiler banners are up, so we'll see what they decide to ban out. So Gangplank coming out instantly from Yami and the Malphite. It looks like the they banned Gangplank last game too. College Park did, so I guess maybe their top laner RC isn't really comfortable playing it or not comfortable in the matchup, but really, if you're not, might as well just ban out. And actually, those are the exact same 3 bans we saw in the first game. I know that stream was not coming online for whatever reason, but Gangplank, Viger, and Lux were the same bans, whereas Malphite, Kalista, Tahm Kench, they banned, so Malphite is a new addition. I talked about how Malphite was actually very useful for just how aggressive they were, being able to enable that team composition a little bit. But the Lulu first pick, what are your thoughts on that?
It seems like we might be going for another sort of hyper carry composition again. So banning out the Gangplank kind of just means that, or at least it doesn't pigeonhole your top laner into playing a tank, but it means you'd rather play a tank because leaving a Gangplank open into a tank usually leads to Gangplank snowballing games, not really needing to use his ultimate to pressure his own lane, so he goes elsewhere to ult, and just farming up a storm and actually one-shotting people. So I see the Gangplank ban as RC wanting to play a top that's tanky, and then the first Lulu lock-in pretty much means that they also want to run a hyper carry. But it seems like Drexel will go ahead and take this Jinx away from them.
Yeah. So you can rotate to a Kog'Maw or maybe even a Vayne if White feels really comfortable on that. But they do first pick Gragas. Now, they're at least in Drexel are generally considered stronger, but if you're going for a Gragas first pick, that kind of says to me that they might want to be going for the Fiora top. Because Fiora was something that wasn't even picked last game, even though she's arguably the best champion in the top lane along with Gangplank. So if you're picking the Gragas, basically the only reason you'd want him over Elise or Rek'Sai is because he has stronger engage and disengage. So that kind of is indicative to me of maybe getting some more dually or assassin-y type champions that aren't really as team fights focused in the solo lanes.
Yeah, Gragas is classically one of those very strong peeling champions. He's also pretty good at engage too, but things can get messy. I see that they're hovering the Janna as well. That seems very indicative of a disengage comp. Maybe they've realized they're just trying to relate to the hyper-aggressive playstyle that UMD seems to have been going for, and essentially preventing those super aggressive plays from happening over and over. But it's a little early to completely tell what kind of comp they're going for. Now they're hovering Alistar as well, which is, once again, kind of this multifaceted support who's super tanky, can engage and disengage.
Yeah, I do really like the Alistar, and Vlad does complement that because that gives you so much sustained damage. So throughout the later game, with Jinx and Vladimir this time around, they have very good scaling into the late game.
Yeah, one thing that I, however, don't like too much about Drexel's team right now is that essentially every single one of their champions has a form of healing or relies on healing, and it's pretty easy to build against that, especially with a Lulu already picked. You can just easily go Morellonomicon. While obviously healing isn't like the main strong point of the champions on their team, it is a pretty important part that makes them stronger than the rest of the possible picks.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. We saw actually Lutano go for the exhaust last game, so he might decide to favor the ignite this time, especially against Alistar with that unbreakable will. Who do you think is coming out in the mid side? Ooh, I like the Hecarim top lane. A little bit of flavor there. And they make up for that tankiness in CC with Lutano on Nautilus.
And the nice thing about running Hecarim is that you can run Ignite on your top laner since he's not exactly flash reliant, which will help against the healing from Vladimir and such. And Lutana will also likely hold on to the Ignite. Since there's no one on the team really worth exhausting at the moment other than Jinx, but if you're also running a hyper carry, you might as well just Ignite them, cut their healing, and rely on your longer ranged hyper carry to just end them.
Yeah, and we can't really see the summoner spells right now because of the spoiler banners, but that is obviously something they can flex into. But yeah, if and going to the Hecarim, once you get some of those early items like the Triforce with an Ignite, if you run the Ignite against a Vladimir, that is super dangerous in lane. Oh, but a Renekton coming out at the last second, so they want some blood in the top side.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be the Renekton top lane and the Vladimir mid. I'm not too familiar with the Vladimir Lulu matchup, but it pretty much means Lulu should be going Morelos first. In terms of the bot lane matchup, Alistar Jinx versus Tristana Nautilus, I'm a little more inclined to say that Alistar Jinx is stronger, at least for the vast majority of laning phase.
Yeah, so if they focus those ganks on the top side, I mean, Renekton is pretty much the all-around top lane bully.
Yeah, he has huge amounts of kill pressure for the majority of laning phase. And because he has that stun, he can also fairly easily stop teleport plays from happening.
Alright, and so now that the game is being loaded into for the players, we can take off the spoiler banners and look at it. Hecarim is running the Ignite teleport, so going to be lots of fun while Renekton is going for that double teleport comp with Vladimir. And if I do still like the blue side team composition because Tristana is still an 80 carry that can scale fairly well. I do think they slightly fall off in damage compared to the Jinx Vladimir, but they have so much single target CC. If they keep up good vision control with the Elise and Nautilus, I think they should still be able to perform a similar style to last game.
Yeah, purple team's team composition is pretty reliant on team fighting. Vladimir as a split pusher is not. He's pretty decent. He wins most 1v1s against champions. Is decent wave clear. His auto attacks kind of suck against towers, but he's hard to stop. But if you're not using his ultimate in a team fight, it's kind of a huge part. Hemoplague is this massive percentage damage, I guess, amplified, so your team does more damage to the targets that are hitting it. And without that in team fights, I don't see too many people on blue team dying. Especially because Renekton, in order to be this lane bully that can actually fight Hecarim, will likely have to go a Tiamat early in order just to survive the amount of pressure. And then if he does go Tiamat, he's delaying his tanky items, and then he'll probably just get blown up by this huge amount of single target CC that blue team has in team fights.
Yeah, that is unfortunate that purple team actually banned the Tahm Kench themselves, because you do have the things like the Elise and Nautilus, and Tahm Kench is so good at that, because once you put throughout the Nautilus ultimate, you can just devour your 80 carry and you're pretty safe. So yeah, and T-Park090 is saying in chat, why no Fiora or Darius? That's also kind of interesting. I might have liked to see a Darius instead of the Renekton, because he's a little more relevant in the later game team fights, but yeah, no, maybe Pesos just wants a little bit more aggression early on and ability to get in there.
Actually, I would have also really liked to see that Darius. Considering that UMD's team is running a relatively squishy jungler and then an enabler mid lane that probably won't be ulting or shielding themselves very often, Darius does have a lot of reset potential.
Yeah, W Gong does point out though that Renekton is much stronger in lane against Hecarim, so yeah, we'll see. So basically, my thoughts are if they can get this top lane snowballing off of Pesos, maybe it might be able to be worth it, but you still have a lot of pressure coming out from that bot side, because now that you have an Elise, Yami was so aggressive on Rek'Sai, and again, he's just on an even stronger assassin type champion, so they should be able to put a lot of pressure on that bottom lane turret.
Yeah, I'd like to see if either team decides that they want to lane swap. Hecarim and Renekton both do relatively okay the lane swap, but Tristana and Nautilus will definitely push a lot faster than Jinx and Alistar.
Oh yeah. We'll see if they decide to do any lane swap scenarios. Obviously, Drexel University does not want a lane swap because they picked the Renekton solely for that matchup. So we'll see if University of Maryland is actually looking for that to try to deny some of that. Because also when you go into the 1v2 lane against with the Tristana, you're just going to be able to kill that turret so much faster. So, anyways, we are getting into the second game of the 5th round Eastern Qualifiers for the North American Collegiate Championship. That is a long title yet again, I'm saying it, but yeah. Do you want to go ahead and introduce the blue side, C9 Highs Balls?
Sure, on blue side we have RC in the top lane, Tano in the jungle, Yami in the jungle, Busty Dice at mid lane, White at AD carry, and Lutano at support.
Alright, and on the red side, looking for some vengeance, we got Drexel University with their top laner Pesos on Renekton, jungler Vita Cocoa Water, mid lane YOLO Badger, Nuketown on that Jinx carrying some nukes of her own, and Devoted Melon on Alistar. I personally never knew that cows liked melons, but this guy seems pretty devoted to his affinity for them.
So, interesting thing, Alistar started a pink ward, and he actually put it really deep into blue side's jungle, which is a little odd, but it is inside a bush that isn't checked very often, and it does have the potential to give you a lot of information on the enemy jungler if it doesn't get spotted for a long time. And also, another interesting thing to notice is that Hecarim only purchased a flask. This is a very popular start against AD bullies, because if you double jungle or just do a camp by yourself, you can go back and buy a cloth armor, that extra 300 gold that you've amassed from doing a camp.
Nice, we'll see him probably do exactly that, and I want to point out that in the last game they were actually able to get that sneaky little ward on the top side as well, so that pink ward definitely proved a little useful last time, so we'll see if Yami is a little wiser to their games. Lutano saying good luck, and YOLO Badger saying yeah fam, GG. Let's see if this turns out to be a nice game after all. I'm pretty hyped for it because last game was pretty exciting.
I'd like to see UMD's bot lane recognize that Alistar did go with the pink ward start, and that should immediately notify their own junglers. Oh, and the hook comes out. We'll pause that discussion for now. It should notify their own jungler that there is a pink ward hiding somewhere on the map, and it's probably worth searching for it.
Yeah, and Yami was actually spending so much time being aggressive. I think it might just slipped his mind to check some of those defensive bushes, but you know, looks like both top laners going to be going into that, going in there at level 2, and Renekton does grab that 5 potion start from his double jungle, so we'll see who comes the better. Devoted Melon already down to half health.
And he's also out of potions since he went that greedy pink ward start. So this if they keep poking him, this lessens so much pressure from their lane, especially because if he leaves the lane, Nautilus and Tristana are both very good at diving. Nautilus is super tanky and Tristana has the reset. And if Alistar leaves, there's really no reason not to dive.
Yeah, speaking of dying, Hecarim's getting a little bit low here, and Gragas is already on the top side. He just puts the one out, but a flash body side comes out onto RC. This looks like it's going to be first blood. Already paying off for Pesos. He gets the Pesos in his pocket.
I guess that's the other, nasty side of playing Hecarim top lane with the Ignite. You are extremely open to ganks because you have no flash to fall back on, and sadly you don't have your ultimate to save you this early on in the game.
Yeah, and just as importantly, he gets killed, and a double minion wave is going to hit his turret and start to go down before he's even able to get back, so that's definitely going to cost him a lot in this lane. Gragas even continuing to stick around, and Elise wasn't really able to get as much off of her side, but staying equal in farm at least. Ooh, Lutano looking for some of those aggressive plays. Gets the choppers drawn out, but gonna be relaxing just a little bit. They don't really have vision of the Gragas right now, but I think Lutano knows that it probably shouldn't be all the way down there yet.
Yeah, so Renekton is going with this very aggressive build. He started with that pickaxe, so he's looking for blood. Probably going to keep as much pressure up here top lane on Hecarim as much as possible to deny the TP plays.
Right, probably going for that Hydra like you said. And now that you can even build a Hydra into the Titanic Hydra, that does even give you a little bit more scaling if you decide to do that. But Yami actually going to be trying to get revenge for his top laner's death. Peso's going to go in, gets the smite, chilling smite out. The ignite comes out too. Yami gets a return kill. So just like that, the level advantage is evened up.
That was a very smart play there. Renekton actually used his E once and then saved the second charge of it at the very end. But he didn't actually use it to successfully dodge any damage, so I feel like he should have just instantly done it twice in hopes of not getting hit by the Hecarim E.
Good call out, and they actually are about to lose a couple of minion waves, and they're doing a 3-man gank right here. Busty Dice coming in for a teleport, a little bit of a late teleport coming from Vlad maybe? No, it's just in time. Saves his friendly Gragas buddy.
Sadly, a little misclick from RC there. He was charging up his E to use on the Gragas, but accidentally used it on the tower instead.
Oh. Yeah, I did not catch that, so... Could have been a little bit better, I guess. Unfortunately, that gank does not go off, but...
He did manage to force the teleport though, so it might have actually been a good thing that he didn't hit that, so they didn't commit to the play and actually disengage successfully.
Yeah, it's all in the reverse mind games. See, they just wanted to draw the teleport anyways.
Also interesting to see that Drexel has purchased multiple pink wards, and they have 2 down and 2 in the inventories, but those 2 have actually been sitting in their inventories for a couple of minutes now. It looks like there might be... I can see why Gragas would save his for the jungle, but I don't really know why Vladimir would save his. Yeah, oftentimes when you do buy pink wards mid, it's better to not even show the other laner that you purchased one. Go straight to placing it so the jungler doesn't go looking for it, and then go back to lane from a normal mid lane and feel like nothing actually went off.
Oh, true. Especially since once you see Vladimir go off to the side, you can probably guess where he's placed it. But yeah, trying to keep up that vision line. You can see, if you go to the red side field of vision, there's a huge line for every single possible jungle entrance. So Yami, gonna have a much harder time trying to do these aggressive jungle invades.
Yeah, luckily Elise doesn't really need to get ganks off that hard anymore right now, even though she's great early game. She can power farm the jungle and still have very relevant damage late game thanks to Runeglaive and Rylai's.
And actually Renekton using his Slice and Dice to get back out there, so that is a little bit indicative of... Oh wow! Alistar goes in with a headbutt pulverize and throws White Underturret, gonna force the rocket jump out. Are they gonna be able to kill Alistar first? Looks like Tristana is gonna get the kill, but I don't think Lutano's gonna be able to survive this. He uses his ultimate. Is he gonna get the dredge line far away enough? No! Vita Coco Water comes out with one more kill! Nuketown 1-0-1.
That was very well executed from Drexel right there. The flash pulverize came at a great time, and the rotation down from Gragas was also really good. I think the aggressive jump from the Tristana was, I guess, good there. I don't really think they're going to escape anyways, so it was nice of them to try to get the kill, and they did end up getting the kill in the end. So even though they did, 2 of them did die, they did manage to trade for the support. Not the best, but it's better than nothing.
And you can actually see, even though they traded 1 for 2, Tristana's still even in CS. Unfortunately, Yami gets caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
A little too aggressive from Yami, looking for the
Yeah.
the denial plays.
Unfortunately. And Hecarim does rush the Ninja Tabi, so he might just go back and get the home guard so he can pretty much come back every single wave. And yeah, that is what he's going to be doing right here. Gragas going for that one deep ward in the jungle. Yeah, I think Drexel University has been pretty satisfied with their early game so far.
Yeah, but one thing to note is that Jinx is down a fairly hefty amount of CS against Tristana. They both are sitting on Avarice Blades too, which indicates that they are going for that late game farm, probably static shivs on both.
Yeah, White does have twice the effectiveness of his enemy AD carry in gold, 50 to 25 or something. But yeah, so they are down in CS. That extra assist does help out Jinx a great deal. I do want to point out that their turret has been getting low, so it keeps Gragas, keeps forcing Gragas to come down here and try to deal with that pressure. Now
Another
they're gonna...
interesting thing to note is this Lulu's build. It's the Catalyst, probably going for that Rod of Ages. I'm gonna have to say that I completely agree with this build. While Morello's would be nice as a first rush, you don't exactly need to rush the cooldown reduction. And having that extra health and tankiness pretty much prevents these Jinx resets from happening in late team fights, where the Lulu actually is pretty easy to focus.
Yeah, and you can see that with Gragas just sitting in that bottom side, Yami is going to try to use this to his advantage and maybe turret dive Renekton, but Renekton's so hard to turret dive, and Yami actually misses the cocoon. Teleport comes out from Vladimir a little bit early. I don't know if he'll be able to get over there. He flashes over with the Evil Blade. Yami is so low now, but RC goes in with the Lulu ultimate. Meanwhile, Lutano gets explosive cast into the enemy team. And is Busty Dice going to be able to kill Vladimir? No, he's able to heal just barely. Pesos goes in. He wants one more. RC coming through with the heroic devastating charge. That's a bit of an oxymoron there, but meanwhile... 2 kills for the red side and the bottom turret. They're going to be able to transition this into a dragon.
Yeah, great, very aggressive plays coming out from both teams at the same time. But I think that Drexel came out on top. They got more that the other team did bot lane, and they were able to force pretty much everyone back top lane. Their early game team comp, or I guess it's closing in on mid game, is... They pretty much hit their power spikes with their level 6s and first items like that Will of the Ancients. And forcing these plays top lane, knowing that the other laners have teleport and Lulu's not in range to stop it, isn't exactly the safest thing. Especially because tower diving a Vladimir, or tower diving a Renekton's very hard with his ultimate and massive healing from Q. And then also when that Vladimir shows up too, he can also very easily avoid tower dives and do a lot of damage with his ultimate.
Yeah, we saw exactly why you should always be afraid of tower diving Renekton. Meanwhile, Tristana is able to just get that bottom lane turret for free, so gonna try to even up the gold a little bit. They are still down 2,000 gold. RC, look at how much damage he's actually doing to Pesos here. Pesos trying to rush that Black Cleaver. Well, actually no, he just goes for the Kindle Gem. Does not have the Phage, which for some reason I thought he had that instead of the pickaxe, but he pops his ultimate out. RC is gonna have to 2v1 here. Gragas is on his way as well. This is gonna be kind of scary. RC gets stunned up, a good chain CC from Renekton. Now he's gonna go down. Oh, he dodges the body slam. Unfortunately, the explosive cast comes out after the exhaust. I'm gonna be able to try to get that, but YOLO Badger gets hit with the Nautilus ultimate. Where was his pool?
Pretty good trade and response to that gank top lane from UMD. Immediately realizing that that Drexel committed resources to top lane and looking for a play somewhere else, since they didn't have the teleports up to actually help save them.
Yeah, really in sync from both Lutano and White there. Oh, here comes Hecarim with the home guards. I think he wants some crocodile boots for Christmas. There he goes, 350 gold going over to him. Yeah, like I said, White jumped instantly on once that Nautilus ultimate hit, so they've had pretty good synergy so far. But speaking of synergy, Lutano getting caught out here. Oh my gosh, he is a huge, whatever he is, Nautilus there, but Jinx gonna be hitting off the backside. They're a little bit cut off here. That is University of Maryland. They're gonna try to re-go, but here comes Vladimir. That might be the turning point in the tides. Hecarim does get the top lane turret, but at what cost? Jinx gets one stack of her passive, and White is get out here. He's gonna be able to do it. Oh no! Vladimir! Oh jeez. I've never seen a vampire suck the blood out of a small blue girl so fast.
To the person in chat asking what the solo queue ranks are, you can hit that op.gg link to search it up, or we can just quickly go through them. RC, I believe, is Diamond 2. Yami is Challenger. He's actually rank 5, I think, right now. Busty Dice is also Diamond 2. White is Masters, and Lutano is Masters.
Yeah, so I know that they are pretty highly ranked on College Park side. I'm not really familiar with Drexel's lineup. YOLO Badger seeing if he can go YOLO himself to steal that red buff. Doesn't quite get it, but you're Vladimir. All you can really do is splash little blood puddles around, so can't really compete with a spider. And Renekton does finish that Tiamat and goes for the Phage, so while he gets a bit of a spike from the Tiamat, once Hecarim finishes his Trinity Force, that'll be a much larger power spike for him.
And UMD's been doing a good job clearing out pink wards from Drexel's side, but Drexel just keeps buying more and more, and they're just gonna put him down over again. Whereas UMD's side only has, at the moment, a single pink ward down, and it's actually very defensive in that rush bottom lane. And I'd like to see UMD at least start to pink out the entrances to their jungle.
Yeah, and actually I do want to commend Drexel University for this line of deep wards in University of Maryland's territory. Looks like Lutano's going to be putting down one pink there, so he's, looks like they're a little bit wary of the fact that they might get cut out a little bit. No, they're just going to get both wards and back off. Little do they know, they have some ninja wards in the backside.
I'm going to have to disagree slightly with Lulu's build this game. While the Rod of Ages is a great idea, you are lacking in the cooldown reduction area. So getting those Sorcerer boots, I don't see the point of it this early on, especially because Lulu's damage isn't exactly great when you rush a Catalyst. And in the end, what Lulu needs is CDR to spam those shields. With 40% CDR, Lulu's shield is essentially up permanently.
Yeah, we'll see if she's able to finish that Rod of Ages to get additional ability power in the coming minutes, but at the moment, College Park just wants to try to wave clear, and they can do it a little bit with Jinx, but with Lulu in the mid lane, this might just be a free inner turret. It is too scary to go against an explosive cask when you don't have the black shield that you did last game.
Yeah, Red Team has a lot of dive potential. Pretty much anyone on Red Team's team can begin the dive other than Jinx, and pretty much survive it. Gragas is super tanky, Renekton has the ultimate to be super tanky, Alistar is super tanky, and Vladimir can just pool to swap aggro. So they have a huge amount of pressure when pushing turrets, especially because Jinx also just absolutely demolishes them and resets off of killing the turret.
Right, and I think University of Maryland just wants to concede this dragon. You don't really have a good way of getting in there, and the pick potential with the Alistar Gragas is just simply too scary. Your Hecarim still hasn't finished his first major item, so just farm it up a little bit. You have waves pushing in on all sides, so just gonna accept that you lost that dragon. It's only Dragon 2, nothing too huge, but you'll want to keep an eye out for it in the coming stages of the game.
Yeah, it was a very smart thing there, not trying to contest this dragon. The UMD, I would say, for sure has the stronger late game team. Elise, because of her build, can easily go with Liandry's Torment and have very, very relevant damage against how tanky the other team is. And then Lulu, with the Rod of Ages build, still needs time to scale. And same thing with Tristana, needs time to scale for that auto attack range and items. So UMD's win condition right here is essentially, or I guess not lose condition at the moment, is just simply don't fight and do your best to prevent sieges. They have a good amount of wave clear with the Glitter Lance and Tristana E, so as long as they don't get completely dove and destroyed, I'd say UMD just has to farm it up and they win in the end.
Yeah, and actually, Drexel University posturing here for possibly an early Baron at the 20-minute mark. They are ahead a little bit in gold, but that would still be really risky to try to do that. You do have the Alistar, so you could tank the Baron if you want to do it without taking too much damage. Yami trading with Vladimir, like you said, putting out tons of burst.
See, one of the viewers in chat has said that Vlad scales harder. Well, I do think that Vlad does scale extremely hard late game, and Jinx as well. Gragas, Renekton, and Alistar don't translate that well. At some point, their base damages kind of just become irrelevant, and they're just these big meat shields. Whereas on blue side, pretty much everyone's late game damage becomes relevant, and I guess crowd control as well is just always valuable.
Yeah, and you can see that College Park is trying to sweep out some of these neutral areas, but they're again forgetting to clear these wards and they're behind them. So they're still being able to get spotted out by Drexel University, and actually Yami going to be starting the Baron. Unfortunately, that's instantly spotted by Drexel University. How are they going to respond? Vladimir does not have teleport up, so he's going to be lagging for a little bit, but just the fact that they are coming in and they know is enough to usher UMD off.
Very interesting call. Not a sweeper wasn't used because neither of them had up, and there was no pink ward, and they're doing it on top of red team's scuttle. I'm not really sure why they attempted that, but that was an interesting attempt at a play.
Well, we saw Yami playing very aggressively last game, and I do want to commend him a little. Oh, actually, Cocoon lands onto Pesos. Nothing too scary gonna happen out of that. But yeah, he has actually adapted his playstyle fairly well this game, because he's making these super risky dives last game. But this game he's able to kind of peel back when he needs to, and there are more wards here. You can't start this Baron without vision.
I think they're doing it because
they saw Vlad.
I think they did it because they saw Vladimir bot lane, and if they timed his teleport correctly, it's not quite up. It's just about to be up. So they had like a small 20-second window to finish that Baron.
This is going to be kind of interesting here. I mean, you have the Jinx, Renekton, and Gragas on one side, but Tristana is the queen of turret pushes, and they have all 5 members. Looks like Drexel University is going to try to stop this death push with 2 members of their own, but I don't know if Vladimir and Alistar is enough to stop it by themselves. Looks like Jinx and Gragas are going to be able to try to do it themselves. Peso's teleporting in. Oh, Buzzy Dice, what are you doing? He's trying to teleport a little too close. Or was that just a bait all along? Lutana's going to go in here. Meanwhile, Jinx is continuing to push and get that inhibitor. But RC goes all the way in, not quite far enough to push Pesos out. And that means that they lose the inhibitor in exchange for a death. Oh, man. Drexel University gets far better of that trade.
Yeah, very smart play by Drexel University there. UMD isn't in much of any condition to fight them, and they were very smart pulling the Vladimir and the Alistar top very early. Both of them have pretty decent AoE and wave clear and can stop the dive, so UMD didn't have much of an option there in terms of taking the tower. And then with Renekton TPing in the end, there's not much they can really do to stop it. And meanwhile, Jinx is great and possibly even better than Tristana at taking towers, at least in this stage of the game, since her minigun ramps up attack speed very, very quickly. And Greg is also there to just tank and clear minion waves. I think Drexel was fairly well aware that they would win that trade, both in terms of just raw speed provided by the AD carries, and the fact that they had the ability to teleport and clear UMD's ability to just push at all.
Yeah, so now College Park going to be licking their wounds. That inhibitor is going to hurt for the rest of the game. And with Dragon 3 coming up, you have to wonder at what point does College Park try to stop this 5 Dragon stack. Now, Drexel University going to be walking up toward that Baron to see if they want to trade objectives. Obviously, 1 Dragon is definitely worth an exchange for 1 Baron. But a lot of times in the North American LCS, teams wouldn't even contest dragons until it got to the 5th stack, which kind of pigeonholed them into bad choices in the end of the game. So we'll see if College Park decides to challenge before that point, or if they want to see if they can get leads and get back into the game elsewhere.
Yeah, despite the AD carries having a bit of a difference in, I guess, where they've been and the skills they've been involved in, Tristana is actually not very far behind Jinx at all, only down by a Vampiric Scepter at the moment. So both still have pretty decent team fighting ability.
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to how the engage comes out. Oh, speaking of engages, Lutano gets a little flashy with that dredge line. Pun intended. But meanwhile, Vladimir just solo and dragging. Completely catching College Park unawares. And
College Park needs to get some, I guess, carry more pink wards on them at the moment. I do like that they do have defensive pink wards, but they're all on the bottom side of their jungler, which is not close to Baron, which
yeah,
is
this
kind
stage
of the main
of the game,
objective.
you really need to be looking out for that, especially with an inhibitor down. That is going to be the prime focus of their opponents. So they do have one pink ward there. We'll see if they're able to contest this coverage from Drexel University. And they do have a couple wards around that Baron area, so actually several. So luckily, Drexel will not be able to sneak anytime soon. Now, all the members from Drexel are busy going back. Are they going to be able to take this mid lane turret?
Vladimir does have teleport at the moment, but Renekton will have this up relatively soon. Whereas Busty Dices is off by another probably half a minute or so, and Hecarim has this up too. So Drexel actually does have the advantage in terms of split pushing right now. But Hecarim, RC's gonna go ahead and start splitting bot lane. Looks like they're trying to force Drexel into making a move.
Yeah, and I do like the nice Dead Man's Plate build from Hecarim. Meanwhile, they're actually going to be starting Baron here for Drexel University. They're just trying to rush that down, but oh, they get spawned out by Lulu. I don't think that they're gonna College Park's gonna get here in time. Yami looking for that steal. Oh, are they gonna get it? No, RC goes in completely by himself, gets to the wild growth on him. Are they gonna be able to kill Jinx? No, she flashes out the last second. Oh man, she catches White mid rocket jump. That's gonna be double kill for Jinx, and Lutano's gonna fall as well. 4 kills and the Baron going out. Oh, that is not what College Park wanted to see. They're actually going to surrender instantly, just saying, all right, we lost this game. Let's clear our minds and go into the last one for the fresh start.
Really well played from Drexel there. Using the amazing TPs from the early game and snowballing their, I guess their mid-game power spike. Also, whoever was shot calling for Drexel, that was an amazing decision there to base race.
Yeah, and that really pretty much snowballed into Drexel, it being Drexel's game. Before that, College Park was trying to make plays happen, but when you lose an inhibitor that early on, it just limits your options so much. And also not having that same black shield to get out of those engages. I really like Lutano's Morgana, but you kind of needed the Nautilus with the rest of the team composition you're running with a higher damage top lane, so that might even stem back to the fact that Drexel banned the Malphite. Because it forced Engage to come from somewhere else on the map, like the Nautilus, which means that there's less, because there's more Engage off Nautilus, there's less peel to get out of Drexel's engages, so overall, very well played by Drexel. And you can see, we are talking about vision control that whole game. Drexel has triple upgraded sweepers, and granted they were ahead in gold, but College Park didn't have a single upgraded sweeper.
Yeah, I really liked how Drexel University took that Jinx away from UMD. I feel like Jinx is definitely one of the stronger picks in terms of hyper carries, and they did play a very good game at I guess peeling for Jinx, and to be honest, they didn't even need Jinx to be the main carry this game. Renekton was able to snowball top lane from that nice early gank from Gragas, and Vladimir just putting down the pressure mid lane and scaling better than Lulu in the end, since Lulu's more of the AD carry support than a really true AP carry themselves.
Yeah, so we'll see if they decide to change their pick ban as a result. I wonder if we'll see the Darius or Fiora. We were talking about maybe having a Darius pick, but that Renekton really paid off for Drexel University being able to... I mean, they did... Hecarim was able to trade kills back, but having the Renekton definitely kept them alive and often ahead in the early game.
Is the tournament code the same one?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to... All right, try it
Same.
again.
It's the same tournament code.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Where does one see the NACC qualifier bracket? Hold on. So it's a little bit tricky to find myself because also it's huge. So there we go. They're all challengers. I believe that's from having a challengers 5s team because they're not all challenger in solo queue, but yeah. So.
Yeah, and the two that show as Diamond 5 Malphite's Earth Riders on the Drexel side, Vita Cocoa Water is Diamond 5 and Pesos is Plat 2 solo queue.
Oh wow! So really going up against. We mentioned just how high the solo queue rating is for the people on College Park. So, yeah, Pesos and friends able to hold their own. Pretty impressive coming back in that second game. We'll see if they're able to pull it through again. Right now, it is 1-1. And reminder, the winner of this last game gets to qualify for the North American Collegiate Championship season, which is a group stage bracket. Let me throw up the spoiler tags for the pick ban. Alright, I think that should be nice and in place. Sorry,
It looks like coming right off the bat, the exact same bans from both teams.
yeah.
Oh, here's a bit of a change. UMD has banned GG.
Oh, true. They're saying GG. I don't know if that's some premature BM coming out, but obviously, like, Gragas was huge last game because the junglers and gauges were actually really on point. And Tom Kench. So, same bans from blue team. Like I mentioned last game, if it ain't broke, well, don't fix it. Now, Lux is up. College Park has been banning that, and she's not really the strongest in the meta, so I wonder if that's a comfort champion for one of the players here at Drexel.
And the first pick Jinx coming out again, taking it away from White.
Yeah,
like to see what UMD decides to go here. You can either take away what enables Jinx to be strong, or go for a very dive-heavy team composition. But picking strong dive right now is not exactly the best idea, since it's very easy to play against a super aggressively built team. Just pick up that Lulu, pick up the Janna, the Alistar, and just deny everything.
Yeah, you can do it, and then go for a good scaling 80 carry. Although last game didn't really work out because, like you said, the Jinx didn't really even have to be the main carry there. I think it was more of a denial against the against White, and White coming through with the Vayne and going for another Elise pick. Oh man.
So I actually personally think Vayne gets wrecked by Jinx in lane, simply because when they're both at the same range, Jinx outputs more DPS, but I'm sure White knows this matchup way better than me, so maybe he probably knows something that I don't.
Also, valuing the Vayne over the Lulu. That's very interesting. Yeah, we'll see. They decide to go for it. Blue team could go for more control champions or some of those peel type characters you were mentioning.
Yeah, both teams have that late game hyper carry. Ooh, and the Alistar.
Oh, interesting. So with the Alistar Evelynn, obviously Alistar is good with peeling, and Evelynn not so much. But you could just run Shen top if Pesos is comfortable playing that champion, and then you can have these submarine Shen ganks, which are absolutely devastating. And that would still fit with a Protect the Jinx team composition.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Drexel does with this Evelynn. So far, as of the early games, Drexel is definitely up on the vision control. And when Evelynn really doesn't care if shit's warded or not, simply because only pink wards can spot her. So if Drexel can snowball this one early and get that Jinx rolling, this will definitely be very, very bad for UMD's team. And now that they're going Victor as well, Victor and Vayne are both very late game champions. I guess Victor does have a decent early game and mid game, but late game is when he really shines, when he starts blowing up everyone in one shot with just that simple ultimate.
Yeah, they do opt for the Thresh, which is I know is Lutano's favorite support champion, or at least his most played. I guess it's possible it's not his favorite. He does lock that in. Timo Hover, gotta give Pesos a shout out for that. Going back to the Renekton, saying, alright, man, RC, bring me your worst. Hovering both every single OP top laner right now, and the Katarina. I want to see a Fiora Katarina solo lane. Solo combo. That would be really fun.
Will this Katarina actually be locked out? I don't think so.
Yeah, the Lulu is open, so they do hover that. But yeah, hopefully College Park can start to cover some more of their wards in their own jungle, especially that level 1 pink ward that has gone unnoticed 2 games in a row now. So...
And it will be the Lux and the Renekton lock-in. Well, luckily this time, UMD does have the counter pick for this Renekton top lane. However, Renekton really doesn't lose to too many. So, I don't really know what UMD can decide to do here. And UMD seems also very squishy at the moment. So they may be forced to playing a tank top lane.
I do want to mention that Blue Team's Engage is a little bit difficult to pull off. You do have the Alistar who can flash headbutt pulverize, or you have the Evelynn who can kind of engage, but with Evelynn you do need to make sure you have proper flanks. So if College Park is able to keep their flank warding up, they should be able to prevent Evelynn from catching them out. That being said, you did mention they are very squishy, so if Evelynn catches people and finds them in their openings, that could be devastating. Yami, or sorry, not Yami, because he is their jungler, but RC going to be going for that Gnar.
Yeah, Gnar into Renekton is a little dangerous in the early levels since Renekton's all-in is extremely strong, but later on as the game goes, Gnar is able to use his nice little range advantage to kite him out. And I guess Gnar does have a fair amount of a larger AoE teamfight presence since his ultimate is definitely something to be scared of because of its stun, and then also his W able to AoE stun. Renekton's more of a single target. At least when it hits later game, his Q is less relevant against a lot of people. It's more so who he stuns. And to be honest, UMD's team does have plenty of people who are stun worthy.
Yeah, it will be fairly difficult for Gnar to get back there, especially with the likes of Alistar and Lux who can hold him back. Alright, now that they are getting loaded in, we can take off the spoiler banners. And I mentioned that the engage from blue side is kind of difficult, but that being said, it's also pretty difficult on red side.
Wait, the delay has started, and I don't know, maybe we didn't see this coming, but Lutano's actually playing Victor mid lane, and Busty Dice is rotated onto support.
What the?
Unless this is a teleport Victor support and some sort of twisted Thresh mid lane, but I think Lutano decided, I'm putting on the carry pants.
Well, I've known Lutano for 3 years. I've never known him to play mid lane. I mean, it's possible he wants to go for it. I mean, that would be the plot twist to end all plot twists, because even I don't know about it, and I've been playing with him for years, but this is a really interesting, and I know Lutano plays Thresh a lot, so he definitely would feel comfortable on that champion.
Yes, this is one of his back pocket picks that he's been saving for these secret situations where the clutch really matters.
I guess so. I mean, you're 1-1. This is the game to prove it all. I really hope it's not a mistake, however. I feel like it'd be kind of hard to make that mistake, though.
What I'd like to see out of Yami this game is the stupid aggressive jungle invades completely wrecking Evelynn and just completely destroying Vita Coco Water in the early game.
Yeah, spiders don't really rely on their sight that much. They use actually kind of tremor sense type things with their webs. So, I mean, great counter to Evelyn. If you're a spider, you don't even need to see. So, just the mind games coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This is gonna be very interesting game to say the least.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I have faith. Yeah, well,
I guess we'll see how these two play their roles differently.
yeah, and not only is it that these players have to be able to play separate champions that well. Uh-huh. Just the way that the team dynamic works, because last game he was the Nautilus and he was the main engage on the team, so now that you have Busty Dice on Thresh, you have to switch the entire dynamic of how your team communicates and how you engage, because obviously Victor's not going to be the one flashing in there, but now they're going to have to kind of respect Busty Dice's shot calling and when to start fights. So that makes it, if it was difficult to communicate, to get down proper communication before, having a swap in roles like this makes it even more difficult.
Ooh, and the full machine Victor skin coming out, synergizing with that challenger border. I like it. Or Master's border, right? Masters that has the silver.
Yes, I believe so. Well, I'm just updating the score on the screen. Oh, well, looks like it got dragged over a little bit. There we go. Okay, so they're pausing. I wonder what this could be about. Maybe it's in reference to Lutano being on Victor. Need to find a tissue? Oh, okay. They actually say FPS like. So, it is not that they have the wrong players on the wrong champions. I wonder if Drexel University's actually caught on to this yet, because it's quite possible that that they haven't really paid attention to it yet, but so alright, they're just gonna be going in this.
One small thing to make note of is Vayne's actually quite strong while playing on the red side, simply because diving and ganking red side is pretty freaking hard. So in the end, left to a farm war, Vayne can scale somewhat as hard as Jinx, but I still feel like in the end game, Jinx outscales everyone and is kind of borderline broken.
That being said, Vayne against the specific champions that Drexel is running right here, with the Alistar, she can do true damage. With Lux, you can, essentially, if you're good enough, you can dodge every ability Lux has.
Oh no, UMD's on tilt. RC forgot to buy a trinket.
Oh my gosh. He has to go back.
Purchased it now.
Alright, at least he has it now, but it does mean they're going to lose one ward. Nice spot out, actually, from Vayne, though, because that means that Drexel does not get their signature deep pink ward in. They only have this one, but UMD knows exactly where that is, so... oh yeah, but as I was saying, Vayne has the ability to outplay every single champion that Drexel University is running right here, as opposed to Jinx, who you cannot really outplay a flash Victor ult. It just simply, you can get insta-burst. So, I'm very surprised that YOLO Badger did not go for the Lulu mid lane, but that just goes to show how much he prefers this Lux.
Yeah, I'm actually a big advocate for Lux as well. Lux is probably one of my favorite mid laners to play with, simply because she has so much utility and just straight damage. She's one of the only casters who has the ability to one-shot people from really, really far away.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that they are doing the double jungle, but Yami is starting on the top side, so we'll see if they try to do something at level 3, or if he decides to invade or something like that. And another pause coming out. Looks like FPS lag maybe again. Oh, this time Alistar saying he disconnected. Okay. I'm just gonna change the screen so that you know, just to avoid any possibility of Ghost or Reno. But we'll let you guys know when the game is unpaused. So sorry, I went to type in chat, but I missed. I don't know if Alistair's going on tilt, but if you miss the enter button, that's not a trend that inspires confidence. Let me put it like that. And W Gong saying in chat, Lulu's OP, but only with Ignite. That I mean, we have seen Faker. Whoops, wrong thing. Okay, we have seen Faker go for Ignite Lulu and get solo kills.
And the game is resuming now.
Yep, switching back to stream now. So looks Vayne actually tumbles forward and gets a cheeky little auto, and we'll see how Busty Dice does in this matchup. So, as well as Lutano, obviously. So, right now they're trading fairly well. Looks like they both hit level 2, but no instant plays were made. And yeah, we'll see. I also curious to see how RC does against Renekton, because he had a little bit of trouble against Renekton early on, which is to be understood, or which is understandable rather. But Gnar is a champion that does have the potential to kite him out.
Yeah, and both top laners are on that super healthy trend. The Doran's Blade with the lifesteal and 5 potions each. So I feel like this actually benefits Gnar in the end, since he can somewhat safely farm. Renekton's all in, while strong, is difficult to commit to against the Gnar who can just hop away.
Yeah, and Renekton hasn't gotten any harass down before level 3, and RC is about to hit Mega Gnar with the next auto, so now he's gonna even have control in this lane. Cocoa Water gonna be coming around. White actually gets a condemn off, and they get a hook onto Nuketown. Burn the exhaust. We'll see if that proves to be important. Ooh. And White dodges a zap, so seems to be pretty comfortable so far in the Vayne.
And a nice little... It might have appeared to be an overextend when White took that tower shot. I'd like to believe that White knew that he had a health potion ticking, and it was actually more efficient to tank that damage and trade the damage than overheal on maximum health.
Yeah, you're actually completely right, because now he's 50 HP from full health, and with that Doran's Blade, gonna continue to just heal up, so that turret shot, just nothing lost, really. And Yami actually going in for the tower dive, he blocks the creeps! Oh, great max range death sentence, but Yami gets hit by the choppers! Those were fantastic choppers placed, prevents him from using the repel, gives up the first blood.
Very unfortunate there, and very well played from Nuketown.
Yeah, so very nice. Lutano does also get hit by that binding. So looks like Yellow Badger feeling comfortable on his champion as well. We'll see if this continues. I mean, White does still have a health advantage and a 10 CS advantage despite being down a kill.
Actually, College Park at the moment across the board is ahead in CS, except for I guess on the support, but that doesn't really count.
Oh, RC showing he is going aggro up here in the top lane, and if Renekton isn't winning at this stage in the game, once Gnar starts to build the Black Cleaver and stuff, it's gonna be a little bit harder for Renekton to catch up.
Yeah, what I'd actually like to see out of Gnar this game is rather than the Black Cleaver, go the Frozen Mallet. No one on the other team is really going to be stacking the armor, so the kite ability, I think, the ability to essentially just stop anyone from running away once you've caught them is a little more valuable than Armor Shred.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice point, because you know, because Renekton will probably be going for a similar build as he did last game with a early Tiamat or the Black Cleaver himself, so he's not going to be stacking armor like you said. We'll see if RC decides to do that. Right now,
especially because building armor against Victor, Elise doesn't help too much, and then armor into a Vayne, while good, isn't the best simply because of how much true damage she lays out.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I do want to point out that White is simply up in CS against Jinx, despite Jinx's range advantage early on, so very comfortable with the champion. Yami goes really aggressive on the Cocoa Water. This is what you wanted to see! Lutano gets one kill, he flashes over, but they get caught by a double binding into Final Spark! Oh man, Lutano might be going down here, but a heal comes out from White. Now they're going to be looking onto YOLO Badger. YOLO Badger just wants to get the kill in return, but a good death sentence comes out and marks YOLO Badger for death himself. College Park comes out ahead, 2 for 1.
Well played from College Park there. That's the kind of play that they need to make to secure their spot in this game and essentially deny Drexel from being able to scale well in this mid game that they did so well in last time. Renekton's already not snowballing top lane, so that's a big plus. Yami sadly did have a poorly timed, or not poorly timed, but I guess a botched dive there, so that was bad. But in general, across the board, UMD's been playing fairly well and not letting Drexel get ahead at all.
Yeah, and I actually disagree a little bit with Renekton's build as a first-item pickaxe, because Nard did actually go for the Phage, so at the moment he wouldn't be able to buy the entire Frozen Heart, so I think the Phage at the moment is stronger, and now that Nard has a Phage and Renekton didn't buy any movement items, that'll be pretty much impossible for Renekton to ever like have real pressure in the lane.
Yeah, it's also interesting to see Yami adapt his build. Since his team has so much damage with Vayne, Victor, and Gnar in the end game, actually has a very respectable damage output, decides to go with the Cinder Hulk this time, rather than his classic all AP builds that he tends to go a lot.
Yeah. Now it looks like White just gonna be continuing the CS. I do like the really deep vision coverage that Drexel University has on the bottom side jungle though, and we saw last game College Park wasn't that diligent about sweeping the vision, and the same is holding true again. Are they going to be able to get it with the Jinx ultimate? Yes! Nuketown, great timing. He is on point in this game. He wants to make it to the NACC. Meanwhile, Evelyn actually comes up. She gets spotted out by the pink ward though. She is going to see that that's there, but that gives RC time to back off safely, so how will College Park respond? Looks like they're just gonna get the Scuttle Crab. Are they gonna make a gank happen? I don't know, because they have vision of Elise this entire time. Anyways, Pesos gonna be continuing to be a little hurt in this lane, but now that Lutano does not have the blue buff, it looks like they're actually gonna be roaming down into the enemy jungle side. And Lux calling out that Victor walked down aggressively there, so I think Lutano just wants to make a play happen now by possibly trying to dive instead of continuing to wave clear against Lux, who he will lose against because she has a blue buff now.
I'd like to see College Park go for this dragon right now, but they don't exactly know where Evelyn is. Oh, and I guess they do decide to go for the sneaky solo.
Yeah, Evelyn is completely on the top side, and she's actually at half health herself, so Peso's getting punished continuously. Hopefully RC doesn't get a little too antsy in his pantsy and respects the Evelyn on the other side of the map. Because it looks like he's looking to be aggressive here. Oh no, he goes for the stun, but instantly jumps out! Renekton not able to get the stun off, so very good reaction from RC.
RC blowing both of their ultimates for essentially just a hop. So very well played there.
Yeah, and especially you don't really need to burn the Renekton ultimate immediately because it doesn't give you that much burst in damage. He wasn't really getting chunked out, so the health wasn't very necessary, but those will be 2 cooldowns down.
I'm not quite sure, but I think when Renekton is ulted, his basic attack range is slightly extended, thus making his stuns slightly longer range as well, but don't quote me on that.
I know it does for Nasus. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, Yami! Great juke,
side steps.
That should inform him that this area is warded, though. Unfortunately, the ward is about to time out, but maybe there'll be a clue. Oh, no! Bussy Nuts gets engaged on, and Pesos coming through an instant response from both. Every single person on the map. Lutano going in pretty aggressively, and actually one teleport gets canceled. Meanwhile, Alistar is going to be going down here. Victor and RC continuing to chase. They do spot Evelyn. Oh, that boomerang RC. Speaking of players on point this game, I really got to hand it to both Nuketown and RC because they have been playing phenomenally.
And RC might catch Vita Cocoa Water out here.
I do want to point out that Lux canceled her teleport. If she had chosen a safer spot to come in from, that might have been the entire turning tide of that fight, but didn't really respect the fact that College Park could answer with their own double teleport, so she does
but
pay for
White
that.
is getting converged on up here.
Yeah,
This-
Yami should be
Yami's
aware
like-
that something's happening. Yellow Badger! Oh! I don't know if he needed to flash up, but he does it anyways. I heard the Facebook beep sound, although I don't even know if I have Facebook open, so that was a little creepy, but anyways, Lutano gonna be using that time to clear out the mid lane of Ward, so nice little pickup by Lutano there. And we were asking, how are Busty Dice and Lutano gonna fare having swapped roles? I'd say they're doing pretty phenomenally.
Yeah, Lutano's definitely been keeping up in farm against this Lux and showing his pressure up with following up with these TPs, and Busty Dice has had many great hooks this game.
Yeah. Oftentimes getting Jinx from the back line. So, Devoted Melon waiting in this bush, but Busty Dice, very, very smooth movements there, gets just out of range from the Pulverize, and throws out an extra ward in that side lane bush. So, look at Vayne. She is up 30 CS now against the Jinx, and even though she hasn't finished her Bork yet, once she gets that item, that'll give her so much better dueling potential. And Vayne's already a better duelist in general.
Yellow Badger actually uses the ultimate mid lane to help clear the minions, but
Oh.
sadly against a Victor, he can clear minions just as fast with just his E. And if he does have to end up tanking minions, he can just use his Q shield and take literally no damage at all.
Yeah, and I think that does stem a little bit from Lux going for the Fiendish Codex first instead of the mana regeneration, whereas Lutano grabbed the double Dorans and the first Mark II Hex Core, which gives him bonus total mana. So, I mean, after all, they both back at the same time, essentially, but Lutano is up 10 CS.
Yeah, Lutano actually goes for the large rod, so he's going straight for the damage and not caring about cooldown reduction. Which, when against the enemy team, is probably definitely the correct thing to do. Everyone on their team that is worth bursting is very burstable at the moment.
Oh, yeah, it looks like Yellow Badger just spotted that out. Actually, are they going to dive this? No, a little bit wary of the Lux Binding. Respecting that, respecting the skill that Yellow Badger has on that Lux champion, because he's gotten several Lux, light bindings already this game. Busty Dice getting a little close to the Alistar. What was I going to say?
Another thing to note is this huge CS disparity between the junglers. Yami is more than double Vita Cocoa Water's CS.
Yeah, that actually ties into what I wanted to talk about briefly. Yami has consistently been stealing the Grom. Oh no! Lux steals the blue buff! Come on, guys! Get a pink ward, please! Props to Drexel University for keeping Vision up in there, but yeah, I was gonna talk about defensive warding. Last game, Drexel University was so on point, getting that. Oh, Busty Dice, is he gonna get a hook off? No, not quite. But
I would have liked to see UMD go for the fight bot lane simply because they saw Jinx did use the ultimate to attempt to steal blue buff as well.
yeah, they're not quite sure where Evelyn is, and I think their caution will be rewarded. But yeah. Knowing that ultimate's down will definitely help him out. Also, Jinx is running out of mana, so if she continues to wave clear, she might just run out of abilities to cast.
Evelyn still is hiding in this bottom lane. Very patient.
I think the way that Drexel University is playing now might be giving away that Evelyn's down here, because they're so aggressive. They're constantly walking up to them, even though White has been consistently being able to out-duel them. So using that information, Lutano and Yami able to invade the blue side and steal that blue buff, and Pesos is getting completely burst by RC, and RC doesn't care if he's in melee range to Renekton because he knows that help is on the way. Lutano doesn't even need to be here because this is going to be a solo kill.
Well played from RC.
And look at Busty Dice in response. Goes all the way back to the turret and just throws out a Dark Passage just in case, knowing that everyone on red side was in the top lane, making sure white doesn't throw away any kill gold. So this top side is getting completely bust open by the Gnar. Oh no, Yami gets caught out.
That won't be enough to take him down, and he just simply walks away. Oh, but here comes a Jinx rocket. Oh no! Barely misses.
Almost catches it, but Yami might go down anyways too. Vita Cool Water getting a little bit aggressive for that pink ward, and
he still gets the scuttle in the end.
Was that worth 300 gold for the top lane scuttle? Crap! Look at that hook on the Jinx! But, oh man, White actually gets headbutted under the turret. Unfortunately, Busted Dice did have aggro there, and the teleport comes out from YOLO Badger. So Lux is here. Oh, gets a double binding. Where's the ultimate? Unfortunately, he used it on Elise already, but here comes RC. And the Lux ultimate does come up. RC just gonna turret dive. He does not care at all. And he gets a Mega Gnar full and bullet his health. Are they gonna dive this? Oh man, they're gonna have to turn dive this so well, but YOLO Badger kiting like a god! He stays alive, gets one kill on the Jinx. Now Pesos, he's a hungry crocodile, interior crocodile alligator. He needs money for a new Chevrolet movie theater. RC doing what he can, but I think he's gonna go down here. Oh man, such a turnaround from Drexel University. Luciano gets the mid lane turret.
A pretty nasty misplay there from White. I think he thought that he actually swapped the turret aggro when he leaned up towards that tri-bush. But in the end, he just kept tanking it, and tower damage ramps up very quickly since it does increasingly more damage if it keeps hitting with consecutive hits on the same target.
And we saw a botched turret dive earlier this game from Yami for First Blood, and again, trying to dive that Nuketown bottom lane. With this time, Lux was able to teleport in safely on the turret, and this might be why she kept getting banned, because that was pretty nice. Also, another misplay a little bit from Yami. Looks like they might be able to actually save this turret, so that is going to be nice. Thresh comes in from the side. I don't know if he wants to engage this with White so far back, but Drexel University is going to back off here. That's going to be second dragon. Oh! Okay.
Oh, good smite save there from Yami.
Not Yami able to control his nerves a little bit, not tilting even though he died a couple times in that bottom lane. Unfortunately, Drexel University is going to get this huge minion wave in the top lane to crash into the turret, but RC's hopping up there, or waddling. I don't really know what Nar's doing right there, but there's a hop. So anyways, Vayne, now that she has the Blade of the Ruin King versus the versus the Infinity Edge, she is so much stronger, a 40 CS lead, and I always like to bring up how Infinity Edge isn't that great of an item by itself, compared to a lot of other items like the Blade of the Ruin King or Bloodthirster. Oh, well, actually, first there's going to be a 1v1. White just completely sidestepping the Chompers, and, oh, Lutana getting caught out, though. I think he might go down because Vita Cocoa Water is here. The gravity ball hits one person, not able to stun Vita Cocoa Water, so he does have to burn his own flash, but he stays alive. The mid lane turret is probably going to fall, though.
Nice little move there from Busty Dice, throwing down the lantern to get the assist, since it was a little awkward to hit a spell there and risk possibly KSing.
Yeah, and back to the Infinity Edge item I was talking about, because a lot of the value from the item doesn't just come from the flat attack damage, but its unique passive. When you don't have enough critical strike chance to reliably have crits very often, the item by itself doesn't get its full value. So until you get that second item power spike from the Static Shiv or Phantom Dancer, the Infinity Edge is just simply inferior to something like a Blade of the Ruin King when you're talking about all-in engages.
Yeah, that was a nice little change that Riot did a while ago, where they shifted critical chance from Infinity Edge onto other items to make it so Infinity Edge wasn't essentially the only viable item on AD carries.
Yeah, pretty much. And although looks like both mid lane turns are down, and a bunch of scattered vision everywhere, kind of splotched all over for both teams. But now College Park is going to be setting up vision in this topside jungle, looking for another early Baron attempt. They tried it last game, didn't really work. But this game, nobody on Drexel University is aware at all. Oh man, this is gonna be really tough for Drexel University to come out from. They already are losing the split push game with RC against Renekton with the Baron, and they're losing the Vayne against Jinx matchup. They're actually going all in against Pesos. He gets stunned by that Condemn. Lutano's on a killing spree.
Completely locked in from the crowd control, unable to even ultimate.
Jinx is continuing to push this lane, but this is not a base race you want to do, Jinx. Getting that outer lane turret is never worth against a Baroned up team. So he's going to try to come back now, but is it going to be too little too late? The Lux Binding goes out and it only hits. Busty Dice are going to be going onto Alistair, and the Gravity Well goes in and zones him. Wait, but White has aggro on the turret. He has to run out of this fight now. Now, Arcee's going to be able to get focused down. This is going terribly for College Park. Pretty much worst case scenario for that dive. Jinx gets a double kill. Is that a triple? No! Lutano instantly turns on. He saved onto his ultimate. Vita Cocoa Water picks up a second one. So Nuketown maybe feeling the tilt a little bit, seeing that his chances at the NACC group stage might be slipping away. Tries to jump in, but Lutano had the patience to keep his ultimate. And we were talking about good players, but he is the only person in this game that hasn't died playing a lane I've never seen him play before.
Also, somewhat interestingly, as someone pointed out, is that White has gone for the double Zeal.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh, White, please! He should rename himself to Gray, because that's all he's going to be seeing for the next half minute, but they did get the inner lane top turret, and they have Baron buff for a little while on some champions, I believe. Who exactly is that? So they have it on the Elise and Victor for a little bit. Unfortunately, those aren't the champions you want to split push on, so if they had it on Gnar, they might be able to make something else happen, but I think that little blunder from White might cost them some gold value from the Baron buff. And Vita Cocoa Water gonna be clearing out his jungle. This game is slowing down just a little bit for the time being as both people recuperate, and Busty Dice wants the doesn't quite get the flay. NA flay, please. Doesn't even get it over the wall, but it's okay, Busty Dice. You've been making up for it with some amazing max range death sentences this game. So now everybody's gonna be coming down to the bottom side. Renekton going to continue to split push that because, well, RC also has the teleport, but with everyone on the bottom side as well, Renekton will probably be able to get that outer turret. They do actually have the Baron buff, but I don't know if it'll last 30 seconds for the next wave. They're going to rotate mid lane, see if they can get that, but a little bit wary of the Lux. And College Park wants to focus on something here because Renekton is just getting this turret for free. They definitely don't want to spend a teleport from Gnar to just defend a turret. They do get one hook that blows the Alistair ultimate. That is huge because now that means they can dive for very safely, and White gets very bursted down.
Yeah, they need to make sure that they don't spread out too far for this Jinx. Oh, never mind. Jinx ultimate is already used, so they're safe on that aspect.
Okay. Overall, that's a very big win for Drexel University, though. They are very far behind. They didn't have the Baron buff, and they're trading 2 towers for Dragon number 3, which Dragon number 3 is useful, but it's not the end of the game by any means. Actually, White grabs an early home guards. Oh, is he gonna be able to catch out Pesos? He gets one auto to get some bonus movement speed. Looks like, actually, he's a home guard, so he won't be getting that, but okay, he's just burning everything from Pesos, but he's still going for the chase. He's hungry. He thinks Pesos is a demon, and as Vayne, it is his job to slay him. Where did Gnar come from? But he picks up the one more kill on Renekton. It's gonna be 4-2.
So, while it might have seemed a little weird for how White was ending up chasing there, he's actually using the tumble as a quick little reset, as a small dash, and then resetting the cooldown by hitting a minion, since he wasn't in range to hit Renekton quite yet.
Oh yeah, good pickup. It does reduce every time you, because your tumble auto will stay active for several seconds if you don't hit anything, so.
And it goes on cooldown after the buff has gone away, so the faster you use it, the quicker it goes off cooldown.
indeed. So, Renekton actually used his teleport earlier. I didn't see where he tried to use that, but maybe they're trying to make something happen bot lane, and then he canceled. But that kill doesn't really amount to much. They do get a little bit of minion pressure in the top side, but it's pretty much just gonna be gold for Gnar, who admittedly is gonna be able to use it to start build some MR against this YOLO Badger, because I did not know YOLO Badgers were so fluent in the wielding of light spells, but they are.
I see Lutano's probably building a Ludens right now. I'd say it's a very solid item choice, especially when the enemy team is so squishy. His entire build, normally on Victor when you don't build a Morello, you want to get a little bit of CDR in the form of boots, but against a team where you can burst everyone, just stack on the damage.
Yeah, they have no protection for this Jinx. They have no Aegis of the Legion, no Face of the Mountain, no Mikhail's Crucible. Basically, if Lutano is able to get a flash ult, Jinx is donezo.
Yeah, and a lot of their team's damage is resting on Jinx. While Lux does have okay DPS, her cooldowns are still relatively long.
Yeah, when we're talking about team fights, the Lux is pretty much a one combo, and then you wait for the next couple of minion waves. They do get a hook onto the Melon Man. Just going to be poking him down a little bit, and now College Park is having a little bit of trouble getting down these inner turrets, but they don't really need to rush anything because they do have control over the map, so they can just wait for Dragon 5, wait for the Baron, because they do outscale the split push threat with the Gnar, and I believe Victor outscales Lux a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it goes a little bit both ways, but in terms of raw damage output, Victor certainly wins.
It looks like, oh man, RC's even going to be going on to Renekton again. Burns the flash, but he gets another stun off. Pesos is feeling the pain. I don't think Renekton gets out of this alive. Oh, that was a... Oh, he doesn't get slowed by the building, actually, so... Red team gonna use this to try to sneak in this Baron. Is College Park gonna be able to do this? We need Lux to get a good laser to try to force him off from this damage, I believe. Actually, Alistar flashes in, but misses the pulverize. The Alistar instantly goes down. Busty Dice going in with a flash hook, but doesn't quite land. Evelyn does get actually really nice positioning for a flank, but gets spotted out by Pinkwood. So College Park should be aware of this happening. Is Lux gonna use a laser to follow over Vita Coolwater? I think that's what they're setting up for here. All of College Park is chunked about half health. They really don't want to get wombo comboed here, but Lux is so far away, being zoned out by Victor. Lutano doing a great job just keeping all the DPS out of this fight. 1v2, oh my gosh! Speaking of 1v2, he flashes forward, gets the shutdown onto the Lux himself. Wow.
That ridiculous burst damage coming out of the Victor.
Yeah. College Park looking poised to take the third game in the last round for the NACC qualifiers. Are they going to be able to get this inhibitor turret? I don't think anything can stop them. Jinx does not want to get close to this. Busty dive. With his... Oh, I thought that was going to be another amazing hook. Trying to figure out some Craigasms in chat. Lutano, what are you doing? He just walks forward and gets completely bursted. That's actually a huge... that's actually huge for them. But here comes RC. Gets a 3-man ult into a 3-man stun. Yami even comes from the side. This is just the gold lead and the Baron buff doing work on the entire team. They don't even need to chase Renekton down, but I guess RC wants to do it so he can't keep clearing the minions. Oh my word! College Park Yami tries to flash, or not flash, but tries to go for a cocoon. Oh, that was a flash cocoon. Doesn't quite land it though. Whew!
Whew. A lot just happened there.
Yeah.
In terms of cool little technical things.
Whoa! Another hook comes out from Busty Dive, and Lux trying to respond in kind with a bit of a desperate play, but honestly, that's what you need to do right here. Oh no, they didn't get. Okay, they did get the inhibitor. Yami has it. Oh! Oh, RC might have to give up his life to try to stun them or something. Because I don't know if they're getting out. Oh, are they gonna be able to make it? Just barely. Very good communication with that. Oh, and Lutana comes back saying, hey buddies, remember me. I'm the one that was able to zone you completely by myself. And they're going for a dragon off the backside. College Park is getting everything here.
That was one of the largest Baron tower plays that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, the first Baron play was cut a little bit short by an unfortunate death, I believe, in one of their dives, but that one made up for it easily. 2 inhibitors down, hardly anyone comes back from that, and an 18,000 gold deficit.
Yeah, cool little technical trick that I think Lutano used when he, if you remember when they were chasing out from Baron, when he flashed after the Lux and Jinx. There's this nice thing you can do with input buffering for skill shots, especially ones like Victor's lasers, where if you purposely aim them out of your range and then flash into the range, they cast essentially instantly. So he did, I'm pretty sure he did use that to instantly land both spells onto Lux and Burster without pretty much any time to react at all to it.
Oh my gosh, look at that burst. I don't know what happened to the camera there, sorry guys, but Lux just gonna try to wave play here, but all College Park has to do is bide their time. They have 2 super minion waves coming in, and Vayne is nigh unkillable here. She got the QSS now, and if you're playing against the Lux and you can QSS the binding, there's really no way you get caught out unless Alistar gets a good pulverize on you. But even then, you can still QSS. You can actually QSS the pulverize because when you land, you're stunned for a little bit, so you can get out a little bit sooner. But anyways, another great hook from Busty Dice. They're going to be going in here. White just focusing Renekton in. RC gets a 3-man Gnar ultimate. Lux completely whips her ultimate, unfortunately. And that's a 3-man knockup from that. Oh my gosh. But it's not going to be anything because everyone on blue team is already dead. That's going to be College Park taking the game, taking the series. They're going into the group stage for the North American Collegiate Championship. Great job, College Park.
GG, well played. The sneaky Lutano swap prevails in the end. Amazing support play from Busty Dice and great mid lane play from Lutano. Nice little flex swap between the games.
Yeah, I am thoroughly impressed. They just, whenever they see an opportunity, they just go for it. Every single game, they instantly pull the trigger on engages, and with the strategies, they instantly pull out this really unorthodox lanes. Well, I guess it's unorthodox. I think that's fair to say. Unfortunately, Yami still didn't upgrade his sweeping lens, but and Nard did not upgrade his trinket, but yeah, very well played from College Park. And I want to go back. I never got a chance to talk about this, but very early on when they did when Yami and Lutano were invading the jungle for Drexel University, and Lutano was about to fall down, White came up and instantly healed him to barely save him. And I think that is just one benefit of doing this kind of swap. He had such good synergy with White in the first 2 games. They were able to communicate that in the split millisecond. So little things like that coming through and being able to pull out the win, that is huge. That means that College Park is one of the 8 teams in the entire Eastern region to represent, to represent the East, I guess. So yeah, I do want to give honorable mentions to both the 80 carry and mid laner for Drexel University, because I think they played absolutely great this game.
Yeah, for sure. Jinx definitely was on point with map awareness, knowing when the ganks were happening, reacting accordingly, and shooting those global ultimates looking for the steals.
Yeah, unfortunately, the College Park never really checked their blue buff for wards, which might come a little bit from this unupgraded sweeper, but in the end,
they were still able to pull through. We saw that even though Lutano didn't have the blue buff, they were able to play around that by kind of roaming and making plays because he didn't want to go into a drawn-out wave clear matchup against Lux. And when the second time he got his blue buff stolen, they're able to kind of read Evelyn on the map and able to invade and take Lux's blue buff. So he was really able to, he and Yami were able to mitigate those damages.
And another thing that's interesting to note is just the sheer amount of difference in CS. This is pretty much prevalent throughout the entire game, starting from like 7 minutes in, and it just simply snowballed out of control. The AD carries actually were not too different in CS, however the kill participation from Vayne is much, much higher. And then meanwhile mid lane though, I guess the difference also isn't that huge, but 30 CS is a difference that still has to be considered. And then top lane is also ahead by the same amount. So overall, UMD just played the macro game and the micro game better in the end.
Yeah, we saw that College Park in the pick and ban phase saved the top lane for that counter pick last, and that really paid off. When they had to pick it first, we saw Pesos actually do fairly well against that Hecarim and got the early lead that they needed to snowball into a victory, but he was so good on that Gnar. Knew when he could just straight out win fights, so very well played to everyone on College Park. And unfortunately for Drexel University, that does mean they're out of the tournament, but I am very excited, especially as a member of the College Park League of Legends club, to see us continue to move on.
Yeah, do we know when the next game will be occurring?
The qualifiers are in November, and the group stages I believe, are actually in January. So it might be a month off. Then after you do the group stages, you have playoffs. Or the group stages are like January to February, playoffs in March-ish, and then the finals will be in April. If I believe when I spoke to Riot Sherman, in charge of the collegiate program, that is what he told us.
To those UMD players around here, if you're playing inside the Fall Capital One Spring Tournament, the brackets will be created relatively soon. And
Paul, please.
And those games should be played relatively quickly. Our main fear is that the preseason patch will kick in and the teams will essentially not be able to compete at the highest of their abilities due to so many changes. So we're hoping that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, all of the bracket games can be finished and we can move on to the finals, which will be most likely a live viewing.
Yeah, so we will have the live viewing finals. That should happen around the first week of December, I believe. So stay tuned for that. Also stay tuned tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. We should be casting some fun College Park in-houses. So yeah. Alright, anyways, I am Sprint Speed.
And I am C9 High as Balls.
Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys. Hope you had fun.